Good morning, a beautiful Tuesday and a very, very wet one for that matter. Welcome to Bumper Breakfast. My name is Yinka Kenny. With me on the show this morning, back here on set, Ale and LD. Yes, I can't say that Ale and LD, though I missed her so much yesterday. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Yinka Kenny. It's good to be on the program this morning. My name is Tom Aderele. Welcome to the Bumper Breakfast Show on MITV.
All right, I would say bright and Ale and LD. Thank God you are bubbling back. Good to see you. Good to have you. Thank God for good health. Thank God for sound health and everything. And I think I'm loving this your yellow and black.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yellow and black. Yeah, really. The black is not my thing though, but maybe yellow, something like that.
I know you like bright colors.
Yeah, I do. I'm always of the impression that, well, I'm not as so fair, like the Tessies and the likes of them. So I like to do, most of the times, I like to do bright colors. And if you see me do a dark color, I combine it with something very, very bright. Yeah. Yes. I want to be bright and shiny.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, we have with us in the studio this morning analyzing the trending stories and stories from the dailies today with us, someone that has been our regulars on the show, and we have the pleasure once again, he's been our regular, I beg your pardon, on the show, and we have the pleasure once again to have him today. It's good to have an elder on this table because the situation we are in this country now, we need elders who to come and talk from the point of knowledge. Good morning, welcome with me, Mr. Akin Fatunke. He's an elder statesman, a chartered accountant, and a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Yinka Kenny, and nice to see you again. Yes, I claim that I'm an elder. I cannot be an elder without the youths.
Yeah.
Vibrant.
Yeah.
Boisterous, forward-looking, and like I always say, like the black and white keys of a piano, together we get an orchestra.
Yes.
Good morning, Nigerians. Nice to be here.
Yinka, did you read his profile? I read his profile.
I do. I've known that since a long time.
I read his profile and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It's been Mr. Fatunke. It's been somebody I've known from way back. Way back. Yeah, I think it's been over a decade, quite over a decade now.
It looked just like yesterday.
And it looked just like yesterday.
So if he sits on this chair, and he's talking, actually he's talking from an experienced standpoint.
Exactly.
And a knowledgeable one at
Yes.
that, so he is, it is worth it.
From all aspect, when you see the people that worked in those days, mobile those days, let me call it like the layman. All right, we go straight into something that almost everybody is talking about. We've been, having the ministerial screening for some days now, and the Senate, they've tried to be on top of their game. Well, I know a lot of people will come for my neck with that statement, but then because some people are saying it's just bow and go. But then we had this very rowdy session yesterday. But if you ask me, I looked forward to that. I knew something like that was going to happen, and you see, they just did not disappoint myself and a whole lot of Nigerians, because for me, if that issue did not come up when we were screening the barrister, well, I would have said Kilo Day, what do you think?
I agree completely. I mean, it was, you see, I would say, I'm not an analyst, a political analyst. Let's leave that for him, but this is my
view.
Kobo. They say those in glass houses should never ever throw stones.
Yes, that's it. That's just a word for the wise. Okay, let me just say the immediate past Minister of Labour, according to reports of State for Labour and Employment, and a ministerial nominee, the senior advocate of Nigeria, Festus Keyamo, he had no choice but to apologize to the 10th Senate over what he did, even in the night Senate. They say, will I say the evil that men do?
I just completed it for you. I'm not saying it.
All right, but then he also explained that in the night Senate, that particular issue that, so to speak, that the House felt that it was a disregard to their office, he said was not in his purview. He said it was both the chairman Senate Committee on Labor, Employment and Productivity, as a then in the House, he said to them that he apologized for what happened, but he said that that particular account was handled by the World Bank. He said, according to him, because I have to be giving reported speech now, he said that the head of the agencies as a then did not see the physical cash, that what they only did was that they generated, Mr. Kifatsuke, you want to say something there? They generated the list and the money was paid directly. So, but then it was that, a very good reason for him to have disregarded or ignored their call. For crying out loud, this explanation he made, he could have done it,
he could have done it at that time. And in a polite and better way.
Yes, and he would have been honored for that. Anyway, we have the video. I'd like our viewers to see what went down at the House, how the Senate.
To speak to those issues, let me start with an unreserved apology. My apology is without reservation. It's total apology for the misunderstanding that arose between us in my committee at that time at the night assembly. I apologize without reservation, total apology. And I pray that, as I have done privately to my committee members at that time, headed by, like I mentioned in my main speech, distinguished Senator Akwashiki, after which the last 2 years of my stay as Minister of State Labor, we had a fantastic relationship. We were visiting ourselves at home. We had a relationship outside the office. It was as good as that. I had done that to him personally and to the committee before, and I do that to the entire Senate at this time. Maybe it was as a result of the lack of knowledge of the fact that this matter had long been resolved between us and the members of that committee. Subsequently, there were so many hearings, budget defense and all that we attended on a very convivial atmosphere. So the apology is without reservation at all. I apologize. The only two things I just need to say before I go, because we are before the world, one or two things. One is that regarding that program, because when Nigerians hear a figure, their ears go up. Hey, one big figure has been mentioned. No. Regarding that program, every single payment, and I insisted to the past president that it must come from the central bank directly to the accounts of the people who were nominated to receive those funds. And so we as ministers, both ministers in the ministry and the head of the agency at that time that we supervised, never saw one kobo. It was straight, all we needed to do was to generate the list and pass to the CBN. And the CBN paid directly from the CBN account to those individual accounts. Till today, as I see, we did not see, nothing even came to the account of that agency. And today, I make a promise that the entire register of everybody that received that amount per local government, their accounts, their account numbers and BVN, we insisted on BVN. Every detail is available at the National Director of Employment. Anybody can go there and ask for a copy. We have it in a flash and confirm every single one with a BVN number. They are all there for complete transparency. Till today, we did not see one kobo of that. I needed to make that clarification. And like I said, I'm sorry for that.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion is on the floor that in view of the apology tendered by this former minister who had earlier been cleared by this August assembly, that he be allowed to take leave of the Senate. Those who are in favor of this motion say aye. Aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. It was seconded. Leader of the Senate.
Welcome back. We saw that senior advocate of Nigeria taking his bow there. But let me go over to the analyst on this table today. Would you not say that was just a soft landing? At the end of the day.
Obviously, that was a soft landing. That to me is more like a win-win. And like Tom was trying to say the other time, quoting Shakespeare that we started, that the evil that men do, yet after them, the good will always be interred with their bones. It's just one word. Talent is great. Brilliance is superb. Ability is a great thing. But I tell you, when you combine all, it can never be enough.
Without character.
Comportment, and I think the Christian Bible actually talked about being a servant when you want to lead. Call it servant leadership. Being a great parent by being humble, recognizing the fact that chicken and egg, which comes first? Okay, depending on how you look at it. That the child of today becomes the leader of tomorrow. And that the people you trample on one way or the other on your way up may be the people that will provide the ladder for you not to fall down like Humpty Dumpty. Let's get it right and straight.
Yeah.
For me, as an elder that you call me, I will say, beyond the razzmatazz that we saw at the National Assembly surrounding Festus Keyamo, it's a life lesson that is going to remain with Festus himself, and I believe and I pray that he is going to use as a mentor to a number of his mentees. Soft landing, yes. But Kenny, let's be careful about something. The Festus Keyamo that I think I know can call a bluff and call the bluffs. The Festus Keyamo that has said openly that he's been self-made, relatively he's been self-made, he's brilliant, and he's come through the ranks. And without he being a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will not mean that he's going to go begging and going to penury. He's been a minister before. Anyway.
Exactly.
But the Festus Keyamo that I see in the mold of a Tai Sholari, of one of his mentors, the late Gani Fawemi, can decide to call the bluff, as we saw there, and said, well, if you do not believe if you believe I have throw water in your faces and stuff like that, I'm sorry. But the sorry will not be, I'm sorry to you, he might look up. I don't want to be dramatic this morning, but he might look up and say, for every other legislator that is out there asking me questions, you have a lot of baggage in there, and then the whole thing will be Dabaru. But for Festus Keyamo, that I think I know to have now come back and made a point that he apologizes without reservation, I think it's good for our polity, it's good for our morality, and it's good for the youth that we are trying to nurture through our nature. There is a Festus Keyamo in every one of us, and in humility, including myself. We go out of the cuff. Do you know who I am? We say that to police officers out there. You are married to a lady and you say that I am your head. You dare not utter a word. You are a teacher, and then this young and bright pupil who God has given some talent wants to blossom, and then you shout him or her down. We have a Festus Keyamo attitude in each of us, and the prayer will be for all of us to be able to tame that. Kenny, you said it was a drama. You are not alone. Quite a lot of people saw it as a drama, and quite a lot of people saw it as a pound of flesh. For me, what I saw was a kind of a taming of a shrew to now say, hey, wait a minute. If we asked you to come and you refuse to come because of one reason or the other, you have desecrated the sacredness of the Senate. Mm-hmm. And you don't come with a shoulder high up there. Let me just conclude by saying this. And I have to say it, irrespective. I admire Festus Keyamo as a person. I admire his talent. I admire his critical thinking. And I admire him for stepping down and recognizing the fact that he still has a few things to learn about human relations and how to relate to institutions.
Yes.
That is the greatest that he has been able to put across. For me, it's not a matter of a pound of flesh. All is well.
That ends well.
Okay, let me come back to the polity now and the rules guarding polity here. Like in this part of the world, we have three arms of government. We have the executive, the legislators, and the judiciary. So the executive at some point is answerable to the legislative, and at the point they cannot meet at a point, they move on to the judiciary. Now, the executive arm has appointed his cabinet that is also supposed to be answerable to the legislative. Now, my question is, we had one or two cases, similar to that of Keyamo in the 9th Senate. This is the 10th Senate. We might and will, permit me to say, we will have cases where the cabinet of the executive will disagree with the legislative. Do you not think that there should be something binding? Because it seems as if everybody just take laws into their own hands. Like when this happened, at the time it happened, there was a lot of back and forth. And if we remember vividly, Festus Keyamo, he never went back. He stood on the fact that he wasn't going to appear. There was one of his tweets where he said he wasn't answerable. Should there not be some sort of law to be put, maybe something in the Constitution to be put in place so that any of these appointed people appointed into offices to serve, when they commit blunders like this, that will bring them to order, something like
Are
that.
they not immune?
No.
No, they are not.
Ken, what has played out right from the Ninth Senate, and I dare say, let's be fair, it's always been playing out for a little while. Yeah, at the Ninth Senate, under the presidency of Muhammadu Buhari, we saw, and I must say it, we saw a gutter place kind of rulership. We saw a leader who threw himself into a cocoon as if nothing was happening. It was clearly a failure of leadership. As at the time that Keyamo was doing what he was doing, perhaps he knew that he had a president that was not going to say PIM.
Oh.
And so because that president was not able to say PIM, he just took.
He got away with
He
it.
took laws into his
You
hands.
remember Ali, the guy that came, I think was the customs sir at that time, and he came in mufti. He said, look, you've got to be appropriately dressed.
Dressed.
He didn't dress well, and he got away with it. To me, in a manner of speaking, that is failure in leadership and a dent on the president of the country, who hopefully will not come around in front of the younger ones here and there and be expecting that people should always give him respect. But I say something to you, Kenny. You have delineated it. 3 arms of government. Yes, they are supposed to be acting as checks and
balances, yes.
1. And 2, careful that the legislator is not taking on to itself a role that the executives are supposed to be playing. We've seen this kind of mismatch out there, but the two wrongs cannot make it right. Now, there is a third one, and it's going to lead into another motif that we all are going to be dealing with. And please don't say I'm the first to say it. And that's the fact that because Tone has not gotten the kind of justice that she expects from a judiciary, as an example, or that myself have not gotten the kind of justice I expect from our judiciary, and just to take a brush and begin to tar the judiciary in bad light, bad mouth them. Nobody is saying any of these arms of government are saints. They can't be saints. They all have a few Achilles heel that they are dealing with. But it is not enough, like it was said at the floor of the Senate yesterday, that Festus Keyamo disrespected the institution of the Senate. We are also, one way or the other, irrespective of how we feel, are gearing up to disrespect the institution of the judiciary on the altar of politics. So we all need a lesson or two to learn from what has happened here. That a particular judge has given a judgment that you don't like does not necessarily mean that you now look at the judiciary and say they can go to places.
All right,
No,
thank you. Because of
that
our
couldn't
time, I
happen.
think you are just saying that we should not throw the baby away with the bathwater. You want to say something?
I was
before
just
we
going to ask one more question before we move to the next topic. Sir, I mean, some people are of the opinion that unreserved apology, was because, he wanted the ministerial post and it was not genuine. What's your take on this?
There's no art by which we see the mind's constructor on the face.
I agree.
Again,
I
that
agree.
is Shakespeare. However, there are certain things that will always live with you for the rest of your life and mine. A day is going to come that you say, oh yeah, maybe it's because of my pot of pottage, or that's why I have done this and all that. The verdict that we have is that a Festus Keyamo, who has disregarded and disrespected the institution of the Senate, has come to give an unreserved apology. If he now goes along and then we begin to see some kind of rigmarole, don't we have a president Should we not have a president with a signing that should be able to say, no, this will not happen, and has a power
And call him to order.
calling to order, or the power of sack? That is the point that needs to be made. In all of this, the international community is watching us.
Yes.
I have seen presidents as strong as the president of the United States of America, when America was the great America, who has come out to the public and said, oh, I think I goofed. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
I acted based on certain information that was within my disposal.
Yes.
I apologize
Apologize.
unreservedly. That is the mark of a man or of a woman of substance.
Yes.
That's the way it should go.
Yes. Honestly, that's just the way, and that's the path of honor. All right, quickly, we want to move to the next topic here. It's all about WAEC, the season result of candidates from 8 states. Although WAEC had said that that's the West African Examination Council, they have said that they will not for now mention the states that are concerned in all of this, because according to them, some of them intend to make the payments. The reason for this being that they were not able to make payment for services that was rendered to them. Is that enough reason to seize those results? Let's listen to what went down before we come back to the studio.
Yinka Kenny, sorry.
Let's just listen to.
I was going to make a quick correction, and that correction is that they said they will not mention all the names. They did mention some names.
Yes, they said they were not going to
Yes,
mention all the names.
They mentioned some names.
All right.
Out of the total number of candidates that sat the examination in Nigeria, 1,476,565 candidates, representing 91.5%, have their results fully processed and are being released, while 137,168 candidates, representing 8.5%, have a few of their results still being processed due to some shortcomings, namely non-challenge, lethargy, incomplete cast upload, disobedience of rubrics, etc., associated with the schools and candidates concerned. However, efforts are being made to complete the resolution process to enable all the affected candidates to speedily get their results fully processed and released within the next couple of days.
All right, they have stated that Zamfara State and Niger State, they are the highest debtors in all of this. My question now this morning is that enough reason? No, though we have a saying that when two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that suffers. Is that enough reason to withhold the result of the students?
Prima facie should not be, because if you have not gone through your normal process, if you expect monies to be paid and money has not been paid, you are a debtor, and there's a way to chase debtors. And we may begin to look at it institutionally. It is when you don't have a sense of shame. No. You get to where I'm heading to in a minute. It's when you don't have a sense of shame, or you have not prioritized education. Will pupils from those states that we are talking about will go on and get into this kind of morass? I know states who have gotten up and decided that, well, maybe they are indigent or whatever it is, how much is this going to cost? Pay it off, and then you can find a way to go back to each of the schools and then retrieve the money. The money we are talking about here is peanuts. Among the results that are seized, I can tell you for free, using the eye of elder, these are talents that will make it over and above. Maybe leaders of this country will come out there. But we spend a lot of time doing frivolities and sharing money and doing all this kind of things, which again is a shame. I think WAEC should go through the normal process. Yes, maybe they have tried. I don't have all the facts. Maybe they have tried and they've not gotten what they need to get. I think the state governments, the state ministries of education, the education commissioners in each of those states should come out and please come and wash this dirty linen that is standing against your people or your state. We must get into the habit of doing things right with the process. Now, if the process continues to be faulty, we won't get anywhere. The process says for you to be able to be qualified to write exams, you must have gone to school, the school must have registered you, even if you are going to be an independent external candidate and all that. Those rules ought to have been in place. When WAEC saw that these were not in place, what did they do? It should not be at this point of the downstream when the hapless children are about getting their result that we should not be making this kind of noise. In private practice, in private sector, Kenya, it is not as if this kind of things cannot happen, but it's prevented from happening because the process will not even allow you to get in there. The real meat and struggle is the fact that, yes, maybe these are indigent students. There are people from those states. You're talking of Zamfara, you're talking of Niger State, you talk of any state in this federation that will only take a benefactor. Just one benefactor. No talk of the fact that all the monies that are being shared here and there that cannot be used for education just means that we have not prioritized education as very key and very, very important. It's a shame, and I hope we'll be able to learn from this and not allow this kind of thing to happen again.
Yes, I was looking at from the reports, it's clearly stated that a couple of states, 8 states, but 2 states were mentioned. Do you think that somehow WAEC had tried to reach out to these states? Because they also said that they wouldn't mention the names of the other states because, they have promised to pay. Perhaps they went through a process, and, they kind of felt a little more comfortable with the states whose names they have not mentioned because there was like a kind of green light. Perhaps that was being handled a little more maturely than the 2 states that they have mentioned, because perhaps it was a hopeless situation for them. What's your take on this?
I have no problems with that. But where I have a problem is trying to hold these students by the jugular. So if you have done that, why don't you come out and say, Mr. Governor, ABCD? Oh yes, a letter will have been written. We have no choice but to go to the media to make an expose. In the private sector that I mentioned, before you see things blow out into the open, so many things will on, so many undercurrents, including the fact that, legally speaking, if you do not do what needs to be done, that commissioner for education is not what holding his position. Or has. You will have done all that. They will have rejigged themselves, especially when you know that education is key. Because without this education and getting these certificates to be able to go and pursue some other pursuits, what we have is these students getting into drugs, getting into kidnapping and what have you. We cannot be saying that we don't want this to be happening, and at the same time from the grassroots, we are aiding and abetting. This clearly is a sense, in my own mind, of lack of an appropriate sense of shame. If I were to be the commissioner for education, I would resign. Correct. If I were to be the principal of that school, I would be thinking of something else. And I will come out and I say, this is exactly what I have done. Mr. Governor, what are we talking about? Including making sure that we get it up there. Now, the lives of these hapless children who have had to sit for the schools, WAEC, either because their parents are indigent, or maybe even the students who have decided to jackpot with the phone or whatever it is, irrespective, they have made an attempt to write the exam. There are ways this should have been properly done rather than this. Anton, I'm afraid, say you don't want to mention some states, you don't want to mention whatever. I can tell you people know exactly what is happening.
Yes.
Before you know what is happening, you are going to give credence to social media and they'll begin to say different things. They say maybe the first lady has done away with the money, has gone to the clinic of this and all that kind of thing. Why are we doing all that?
Why don't we just come out and lay,
Let's
lay
come out and
on the
lay
table,
and
lay
lay
bare.
and lay it on the table.
All right, let's
That's
go
it.
to the papers. I'm sure a lot of laying on the table happening right now in the polity. A lot of things unfolding, things that have been, cooked up in the corner. Well, let's start with the Punch newspaper first off this morning, and is coming from the federal government coffers. Federal government withdraws contempt suit against Labour. NLC may suspend strike, and the riders are Solicitor General, writes NLC. Falana says federal government suspends suit over Tinubu's intervention. NLC TUC awaits federal government on palliative agreement. Call special meeting over planned strike. And the picture story here, full-fledged one. When I was talking about things coming to the public eye, former Character Commission officer admits taking bribes, indicts chairman. Well, let me finish with the story, then we'll come back to that. Jakonde conceived Banana Island, allocated no plot to sell, according to his son. And mob attacks cop as bus crashes motorist on BRT lane. It is really a sad one that happened. FBN shareholders protest AGM suspension, demand regulators intervention. Above the nameplate we have, Senator refuses to confirm El Rufai Danladi, female nominee, and Niger mega rail project threatened, over 1,000 trucks trapped. Obaseki dismisses impeachment plot, says Shaibu planning APC defection. So much is happening in Edo State right now. But before we go straight to Edo State, let us go back to the Federal Character Commission, where we have been having some revelations unfolding, jobs that were supposed to be given to people that were, credible, people that deserves, to get the job, or deserved rather to get the job. Unfortunately, we are asked to pay the sum of, in some cases, 1 million naira, in other cases, 1.5 million naira before they can get the job. And the officer that has been challenged by the House is pointing fingers to the chairman that he did all he did by the directives of the chairman, but then he's got no evidence, in the sense that the chairman said payments should be made in cash, whereby he went to the POS to make payment. So no evidence to show for all of this.
Corruption, like Reverend the Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Matthew Kuka, made it clear and boldly is sinking Nigeria. Matthew Kuka is not saying something new. The only thing that the Reverend is saying that is getting worse and worse and getting brazen. And gaslighting, not only gaslighting, putting the beam on the immediate past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Truth must be told, comes back to my swan song. There is absolutely lack of a sense of shame. My character commissioner, chairman, and all that.
The driver,
And
it's as far as that.
at the end of the day, it's not going to be mudslinging here and there. One of the basic lessons that was taught us in the private sector is that if your boss, who happens to be tall and she looks very bossy in everything that she has, she's my boss, has asked me to do something that I know is patently wrong. And she comes to me in the dark recess to just say, you know what, go and decapitate that particular person's. What we always say is, yes, mom, but under what law? So, well, it's not good for the system and all that kind of stuff. But why don't you think we should do it this way? No, now what is law? You go and carry it out and stuff like that. final point will now be, Madam Tom, please can you put this down in writing? This instruction? You expect her to put it in writing? No, she's not going to put it in writing. So you put it in writing. That on so and so date, Madam, we had this issue. I didn't think it's the right thing and all that. And I have suggested certain things and stuff like that. But you have insisted that I go. Just want to put this in writing for you to know, blah, 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 sign. Send a copy to her. I can tell you in 6 out of 10 cases.
So what if our office refused to acknowledge that letter?
You need not send an email. You know.
All right, thank you so much. I want to hold your thoughts there. That's a very good one. It's we're in the world of IT now.
Many people have used that, and I'm just going to make the point. In 6 out of 10 cases, the madam will change her mind and say no.
Thank you so very much. Let's go quickly to the
Okay,
Nation.
the Nation newspaper. Security clearance delays El Rufai, Okotete, Danladi. And the riders are Senate Okes Keyamo, Bagudu, Umai, Edu, Alake, Beta, Edu, and 39 others. I want to serve in national interest. Wike writes PDP. Ministers for induction. Federal Bank of Nigeria shareholders seek SEC intervention in takeover bid. ECOWAS plans review of Niger junta position. Above the nameplate, no plot to impeach Shoaib, says Obaseki. Court action preemptive. I sold jobs for 1.5 million naira at federal agencies, says ex-worker. Sanwo-Olu Nwachukwu Adenaike extol Jakonde. And in front of the Nation newspaper, we have this picture story, and it's the First Lady and the wife of the Vice President, Haja Nana Shatima, with the Nigerian female national basketball team players who won the African Women Basketball Championship for the 4th time in a row. Our female athletes are really, really doing well.
All right, rounding off the papers this morning, I think I just go through what we have on the front page of Nigerian Tribune, and the list story here is new ministers, why Senate withheld El Rufai, 2 orders, confirmation, Alake, Wike, Tunji Ojo, Pat, Beta, Edu, 40 orders confirmed. Keyamo scales through after apologizing over disrespect to Senate. Electricity, over 7 million customers still on estimated billing. That's a report from the metering gap. Metering gap remains above 50%. And WAEC releases 2023 May-June WASC result with OL's result of 8 states. NAFDAC scales up effort to eliminate fat linked to heart disease, diabetes in food supply. ECOWAS to meet on Niger on Thursday, and we have no plot to impeach deputy governor coming from the governor of Edo State, Obaseki. Above the nameplate, we have federal government moves to end multiple taxation, and the rider is discussing low tax morale, discouraging investment, creating room for corruption. That's from the Presidential Fiscal Policy Chairman. And on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to our analyst this morning, Mr. Akin Fatunke. Thank you for being a guest on the show this morning.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
All right now we go on a short break. When we return, Abiola Ismail will be here to give us the business report. Don't go anywhere. Please stay with us. We will be right back.